Ever since I did my videos on Disney's animated features many years ago, people have been asking me to make a new one looking at the latest films they've released since 2009. I've certainly considered it, but I also feel it's better to wait until 2019 before doing a new iteration of that. However, based on the demand, I'm going to name my favorite films they've done in the new era, which I always considered began with 2007's Meet the Robinsons, the first Disney movie John Lasseter became involved with as the new head of the studio. I'll also go into more detail than I usually do on why, from an historical perspective, I selected these as the current crown jewels. Starting with Winnie the Pooh. This is a movie that hit the right nostalgic note of bringing us back to the 100-Acre Wood and all of its charms and themes on growing up. There's a simplicity to this movie that adds to what makes it so great. With its short, interconnected storylines packed into a short, hour-long runtime, Winnie the Pooh managed to include a lot of great character moments. The script, written the old-fashioned way with purely storyboards, has a lot of great wordplay, and every character still retains their classic personality. The songs by Robert and Kristen Lopez are wonderful, standing nicely alongside the iconic Sherman Brothers tunes. The use of Zooey Deschanel also works to tremendous effect, including the end credit song she wrote titled So Long, which has become even more meaningful as the years have gone by, as Disney seems to be putting Winnie the Pooh out there less and less. Admittedly, there's also a somber backstory to this film, as the animators felt a Winnie the Pooh movie was not the right way to return Disney's hand-drawn animation unit to its former glory, and they were right. As touching and great as this movie is, it was never going to be a box office bonanza, even if Disney had opened it on a different day. I'm in that strange place in that I love this film, but wish the mouse had made a different hand-drawn animated film, which brings us to the next entry on this list. Frozen. Ah yes, that multi-billion-dollar smash hit Disney is continually ramming down our throats. It seems you cannot turn a corner these days without seeing either Star Wars or Frozen merchandise. However, you cannot blame them for taking advantage of having this widely loved property. When I was younger, The Lion King was everywhere, and I could not get enough of it. If the current generation of children love Frozen, that's fine. It's a great film. Jennifer Lee's screenplay is clever and taps nicely into the relationship between royal sisters Elsa and Anna, and I like how it taps into the nature of introverts with the Elsa character. The song Let It Go has become a huge smash, not just because it's a legitimately fantastic song, but also due to its universal themes and ideas that can be identified by many people. Now, I do think that this should have been the new animation department's second hand-drawn feature, not Winnie the Pooh. Aside from the nervousness about the medium, I see no reason why this had to be CG. This was originally planned as a hand-drawn film, and then when it was switched to computers, the animators asked why. Oh, you know, the snow and the ice, and yeah, that's the excuse we're going with. If you ever read interviews with the directors, you can tell when it's the PR speaking. For the upcoming Moana, directors John Musker and Ron Clements said it was CG because of the water. Let me repeat that. The directors of The Little Mermaid said their next film is computer animated because of water. I'm going to call balderdash on that. That issue aside, Frozen is still a delightful Disney adventure with all the memorable characters, emotional story, and unforgettable songs we expect from them. Tangled. This was a big deal at the time, mainly because it was an experiment to see if the classic Disney fairy tale could translate to computer animation, and I think it certainly succeeded. While a bit of Glen Keane's original intention to give the movie a painterly look didn't make its way into the final film, you can see a lot of his personal touches within the pixels. This is especially true with the character animation for Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, both of whom should sit right alongside the Disney heroines and heroes of the past. Unlike Frozen, it does not bother me that this is CG, because it was clearly a major challenge for the artist in conveying a lot of what Keane wanted to bring to the movie, and I think computer animation was just a more appropriate medium for the hair. Alan Menken's songs are wonderful, with I See the Light being the clear highlight, and I'm still wowed by that sequence whenever I see the film. It also contains one of the best uses of 3D I've seen with those floating lanterns. It was ultimately a very warm, funny adventure, though I wish its massive success did not ultimately lead to the decision to make Frozen CG, because I don't think Tangled was a hit because of its medium. I think the critical acclaim of its predecessor led to people trusting Disney animation again, and that goodwill helped pave the way for Tangled's box office success. Nonetheless, it's an important film in the studio's history, and a wonderful one at that. Wreck-It Ralph. From a couple of my previous comments in this video, you might assume I dislike computer animation. But I actually love it, as my adoration for Pixar and Blue Sky can attest to. And this is a film that uses the medium perfectly. Rich Moore created a vast and rich video game world in this film, and I like how each of the games we visit have a distinct look to them. From the retro style of Fix-It Felix Jr., to the hardcore realistic landscape of Hero's Duty, to the brightly colored go-kart tracks of Sugar Rush, Wreck-It Ralph is a visually stunning movie. Best of all, the script is both very funny and extremely touching. There are some genuinely emotional moments here because they feel earned, and I really grew to love these characters. Ralph is of course great, and I'm a big fan of the Felix-Calhoun pairing. But I actually think a lot of the heart that holds this film together comes from Vanellope, voiced in a terrific performance by Sarah Silverman. There's a cunning cheekiness there, but also a lot of heartbreak from what she has had to put up with. Rich Moore based a lot of Vanellope's personality on reading Silverman's memoirs, and it really adds to the dimensionality of the character. The use of famous video game characters is also smartly handled, as they don't get in the way of the narrative, and are given the right amount of screen time without stealing the spotlight from the leads. It's a smart and funny movie that makes all the right choices, and Rich Moore co-directing Zootopia is one of a number of major reasons I'm really excited for Disney Animation's next feature film. And my favorite modern Disney animated film is The Princess and the Frog. Before this film was released, my excitement was pretty much on par with how a lot of people anticipated The Force Awakens. Yeah, that much. Did my excitement lead to me overhyping the film on its initial release? Well, 6 years and subsequent viewings later, I still think this is one of Disney's finest animated films. You can sense the excitement Ron Clements, John Musker, John Lasseter, and the artists had about returning to hand-drawn animation right up on the screen. Is it a very traditional Disney fairy tale? In many ways, yes, but it also reinvents itself with its workaholic lead and classic Americana feel. Randy Newman's songs also played a key role in The Princess and the Frog working so well. He hit the right jazzy rhythm with his songs, and each one is a delight. Tiana was definitely worthy of being one of the best heroines produced by the studio. It was a big deal at the time that there was finally an African-American Disney princess. But Tiana works because they made her a unique character with her own goals, and her development is very well written. I also liked how it explored the New Orleans culture, from the parades to the swamplands. There was a magic all through this film, and I think it's an excellent and delightful animated movie with all the ingredients we expect and love from Disney. It's since been overshadowed by Frozen and Tangled, but I will still cherish it. Would it have done better under the more gender-neutral titles of those films? I think so. Nonetheless, it's exciting to watch it and know Disney was willing to return to the medium they helped pioneer. And the optimist in me still thinks they will eventually turn around and give it another shot. Those are my 5 favorites, but I find Bolt and Big Hero 6 charming in their own right too. And I'm certainly looking forward to what they bring us with Moana and Zootopia next year. See you next time.